Luckiest sheep in the world right now. I threw some banana peels and some orange peels out here last night. Looks like he is devouring it. Good morning, sir. I'm headed down to Atlanta to the airport to pick my sister up. Had to leave pretty early this morning, a little bit earlier than I expected because her flight got changed. About 40 minutes into my drive, right outside of Atlanta. Getting caught up in some traffic here, slight traffic jam. We finally made it to the big city. I gotta cross through it to get to the airport. Plane's taking off and landing. We've made it to the airport. I got the car parked, getting ready to walk inside, help grab my nephew, my sister's bags. Pretty nice airport. People coming in and out. Getting ready to walk over the bridge. We got them picked up. We're headed back to the house. Got about an hour and a half drive. Finally made it home. Step back here, taking a look at the mess my dad caused. He's been grading out the land back there. Notice my van was down here. Looks like my dad brought some tools in the toolbox and is doing some work on the Zetor. I know he said it was having some issues with the battery. Sarge, what are you doing, buddy? While I was gone, they came and took the last recycle scrap container, dropped us off another empty one, might be the last one. We're gonna get to work in here. I brought in this Polaris 90 that I had sitting outside. I gotta put a new carb on it. It's missing the carb, it's missing the ignition switch. That's all that it looks like it's missing. I got this and this one in a package deal. This one we finished up in yesterday's video, put the new bushing where the steering column was. So now that this one's fully complete, just needs a wipe down, we're gonna hop into this one and see what we can do. I already ordered a carburetor, just never got around to installing it. Starting off, I'm getting everything ready that I'm gonna need. Definitely gonna need this carb. Got the ignition switch, and I got the bushing for the steering column, which will come last. These parts, all three came from Amazon. These are remanufactured. I've actually swapped out 2 of these carbs with these cheaper Chinese ones, and they really haven't given me any issue. They work like they should. This carb comes with the fuel filter and another line. The last one didn't. And then the ignition switch as well fits perfect to this model. Let's get this all installed and see what happens. It's gonna take a little bit more work than I first thought. It's missing a couple more pieces, but it is what it is. I started off, took the coil off to the spark plug. It was up here, it's kind of just in the way. But you can see somebody tried to do something with these cables, didn't do a real good job with it. Also, some of these grounds are pretty wore out. We'll have to get those figured out as well. There's only one line to the gas tank, it's missing one. Also, there's no reserve switch or anything on it. I'm not sure if it had one and they just took it off. I could straight shoot it to the carburetor, but then there's no way of cutting off the fuel source. We might have to do that for now until I get a part ordered, close off the other valve to the gas tank. I'm getting ready to clean it out from the inside with the compressor. I went ahead and wiped it down. It was pretty dirty. It's empty. Took this fuel line off. I'll probably replace it with a shorter one. This thing's a little too long. We're gonna probably go ahead and install the carburetor since we got a little bit more room. Got the new carburetor installed, got the new head for the throttle and the choke, got it clamped in place, hooked up the cable for the oiler. It does have an airbox that goes here, but we can fire it up, idle it without the airbox, but when we decide to run it, we'll get it put on. I do have it. It's the one that came with it when I bought it. It was already taken off, probably needs to be cleaned up real good. Also installed the ignition switch, nothing too bad there. Comes with 2 new keys. Now I gotta work on getting this gas tank figured out, so we can hook up the fuel source. So I figured out a little contraption for the gas tank. I used what I had. I got a little cap here on one of the valves. And on the other one, I used the tube, cut it. I had one of these cutoff valves for gasoline. Ran the first one to it. That way I can cut the fuel off if needed. Then this tube I'll hook up to the carburetor. So let's get this hooked up, get some gas in it, and see what we can do. Hooked it up to the carburetor, fixed the wires. I see a little bit of a ground issue here when I hooked up the battery, but it should be good enough. I went ahead and turned it on, so it's getting power. You can see the green light came on for the neutral. I got the choke set, and when I go to crank it, that's all I'm getting. I want to check the spark plug, but of course, because my dad's working on the Zetor, he took all my heads, socket heads down there, and I don't have a way to get it taken off to check it. At least we know it's doing something, it's just not firing up. So it could be the spark plug. I'm not really too sure. We'll have to get it pulled out and take a look at it. Wow, perfect timing on the shop closing. It is just now starting to rain. I had to grab the mail real quick. Getting ready to head inside, hit the gym.